Before the summer vacation at the island resort comes to a close, Kota-sensei gives his students a test of courage inside a cave, pairing them up into couples in hopes of getting juicy gossip. Although this quickly backfires, both Kota-sensei and the students quickly notice that Arina Jelovic has feelings towards Todami Karasuma. Kota-sensei and the students decide to set up a romantic dinner for the two teachers to get them together. Arina kisses her napkin and places it on Karasuma's lips as a subtle confession before leaving. But Karasuma seems to be more focused on his duty rather than getting her message. On the final day of summer vacation, Kota-sensei invites his students to the local summer festival. Meanwhile, Lovro-Brovsky is attacked by a mysterious assassin. Inspired by an article on a surplus of eggs, Kaede Keano comes up with a plan to assassinate Kota-sensei by constructing a giant caramel pudding containing a hidden bomb, with all the students banding together to help make it. While Kota-sensei inevitably sees through the plan and disables the bomb, he shares the remaining caramel pudding with his students. Later, the students participate in a game of cops and robbers, in which they must use parkour to evade being captured by Karasuma. But the captives manage to use bribes to have Kota-sensei let them escape. The next day, the students accuse Kota-sensei of stealing underwear from all over the city, but they later suspect that he's being framed by someone. They soon discover the true culprit to be one of Karasuma's underlings, who had been used by Shiro to lure Kura-sensei into a trap, a cage made from fibers that can hurt him. Shiro once again pits Kura-sensei against Itona Horibe. Despite Itone's increased deadliness, Kota-sensei manages to evade him and defeats him. Just then, Itona starts reeling from the effects of his tentacle implants, which he had been keeping under control due to Shiro's treatments. Shiro leaves after deeming no further use of Itona, who later goes on a rampage and starts destroying cell phone shops. As Koro-sensei tries to reason with Itona, Shiro attacks Koro-sensei and captures Itona. Shiro lures Koro-sensei into another trap, but the students arrive on the scene and rescue Koro-sensei and Itona, forcing Shiro to retreat. The students soon learn that Itona was allegedly abandoned by his parents after their electronics company went bankrupt. After Takiya Muramatsu, Taisei Yoshida, and Kirida Hazama each failed to cheer up Itona, Ryoma Terasaka manages to calm down Itona, allowing Koro-sensei to safely remove the tentacle implants and enroll him as an official student of Class 3E. Itona creates a prototype of a remote-controlled tank, which he plans to strike at Koro-sensei's heart as being the weak point. The other boys in the class suggest a fisheye lens and a camouflage design, but it later gets destroyed by a weasel. The girls soon figure out that the boys potentially wanted to use the tank to spy on them. Later, Masayoshi, Justice, Kimura, feels embarrassment over his written name, Justice. The students are assigned code names by Kota-sensei during a training session against Karasuma, leaving Kimura assigned with his true name to show how well it fits him. Kimura is inspired by Kota-sensei to accept his true name, not by how it is written, but by how one is associated by it. Yuma Isugai secretly works part-time as a waiter at a restaurant, but he is soon discovered by Class 3A's Big Five: Gakusho Asano, Teppei Araki, Ren Sakakibara, Natsuhiko Koyama, and Tomoya Seo. Gakusho threatens that he will report Isugai to expulsion unless Class 3E can beat Class 3A in the sports festival's pole toppling event. This turns out to be an unfair exhibition match since Gakusho has his team filled with powerful American foreign exchange students led by a boy named Kevin. Despite this, Isugai manages to come up with some unconventional countermeasures for his teammates and their use of unique skills against Kevin's group, eventually outwitting Gakusho and taking the victory. While preparing for their midterm exams, the students for Class 3E perform parkour outside of the school grounds. However, Taiga Okajima and Kimura accidentally fall on Mitsukata, an elderly principal of Wakaba Park Nursery School, who was on his way there by bike. As a result, Kota-sensei bans the students from studying for the midterms and has them volunteer at the nursery school until Matsukata recovers from his injured right femur. While the other students help entertain the naughty children and renovate the decrepit nursery school, Nagisa Shiota mentors a bullied girl named Sakura Kiyashiki, teaching her to find the strength to return to primary school. After 2 weeks, Matsukata returns to see the nursery school completely transformed into a safe and fun environment. With no time left to study, the students perform badly in the midterms, yet Karma Akabane scores second place overall due to studying during the summer. Having learned their lesson of being careful and using their newfound strength, the students receive new equipment for their future assassination efforts. The students of Class 3E notice that Arina's birthday was a few days ago, so they go see a florist to arrange for Karasuma to give Arina a bouquet for the occasion. However, the mood is spoiled when Karasuma casts aside Arina's romantic interest for the good of the mission, leading her to storm off. After Arena stops showing up at school for a few days, the students are suddenly snuck up upon by the florist, revealing himself to be the Reaper, who tasks the students to rescue Arena from being bound and gagged inside a dungeon. The Reaper lures the students into his trap at a fortress, but they attempt to escape and find Arena. Some students are taken down by the Reaper one by one, and even Nagisa is thwarted by his clap stunner. Meanwhile, the remaining students manage to find Arena, but they discover that she has turned against them. All of the students are recaptured. Kota-sensei and Karasuma begin their rescue attempt. When Kota-sensei and Karasuma reach the fortress, the Reaper reveals that he has placed neck braces as explosives on the students. The Reaper manages to lock Koto-sensei with the students, planning to kill them in a canal flood. Choosing to protect his students, Kurosama chases after the Reaper, who sets off an explosion that traps Arena under some rubble. Hina no Kurohashi encourages Kurosama to rescue Arena, who was taken in by Loro after her parents were killed in a civil war when she was a child. The students manage to remove the neck braces in time and camouflage from being seen in the live camera feed. Karasuma gets the drop on the Reaper and confronts him in close quarters combat. After being shot by the Reaper with a hidden gun in his index finger, Karasuma is saved by one of Koto-sensei's tentacles, allowing Karasuma to deliver the knockout blow. Afterwards, the students convince Arena to return as their teacher, while Karasuma gets the government to ensure that the students will remain safe from other assassins pursuing the bounty. As the students of Class 3E are in the process of deciding on their future careers, Nagisa believes that he should become a professional assassin, but Koto-sensei tells him to give it some more thought. Nagisa comes home to his mother Himori Shiota, who urges Nagisa to move out of Class 3E due to his poor grades and becomes hostile when Nagisa insists on staying in Class 3E. On the next day, Koto-sensei agrees on Nagisa's behalf to impersonate Karasuma for a parent-teacher meeting with Himori, stating to her that Nagisa will not be allowed to leave Class 3E unless solely desired. Unwilling to take no for an answer, Hiromi later drugs Nagisa when he eats dinner and drives him to the old campus. She tries to have him commit arson to the old campus in order to sever his connections with Class 3E. However, they are interrupted by a whip-wielding hitman who is targeting Koto-sensei. Nagisa uses his assassination skills to take down the hitman and protect his mother. Choosing to pursue a different career, Nagisa decides to work to support Hiromi, who lets him stay in Class 3E. A school festival is held and all the classes compete to make the most money in their dining stalls. The students of Class 3E take advantage of their mountain location by using local ingredients to create dishes that prove a hit for customers of many familiar faces. Meanwhile, Gakushu and rest of the Big Five use music industry business sponsors to draw in customers. While Yuji Norita comes by for a visit, Ryo Nakamura dresses up Nagisa like a girl. During their date, Nagisa eventually reveals his true gender to Yuji. Impressed by Nagisa's honesty, Yuji posts about the dining stall on his food blog, causing an influx of customers on the next day. Koto-sensei advises his students to close their dining stall early to avoid disrupting the mountain's ecosystem with their excessive foraging. Hiromi arrives to patch things up with Nagisa. In spite of closing early, Class 3E comes in third place, just behind Class 3A and high school. With final exams approaching, Gakushu witnesses as Gakuho Asano uses brainwashing tactics on Class 3A to fuel their hatred towards Class 3E. As Koto-sensei tasks the students of Class 3E to make it into the top 50, it is revealed that Gakuho will be taking over the lessons for Class 3A with his twisted educational methodology. Gakushu asks the students of Class 3E to beat Gakuho at his own academic game, but the students of Class 3E already strive to do their best, perhaps better than Class 3A. During the final exams, the students are faced with college-level questions added by Gakuho, but the students of Class 3E manage to get through them using techniques taught not only by Koto-sensei but also each other. The final exams climax with a showdown between Kurama and Gakushu as they tackle the last math problem, solving the volume of an atom inside a cube of a domain. Gakushu struggles to come up with a complex formula after reading the last half of the problem, but Karma discovers a simple formula after reading the first part of the problem. Following the final exams, Koto-sensei reveals that all of his students managed to land in the top 50. After Gakushu and the rest of Class 3A state their preference to the ideals of Class 3E, Gakuho takes matters into his own hands, threatening to destroy the old campus and sack Koto-sensei. In order to save the class and his job, Koto-sensei is tasked with solving 5 workbooks containing grades that could hurt him, with one of those workbooks containing a real grenade. Despite getting hit with the math workbook, Koto-sensei manages to finish other subject workbooks without setting them off, having memorized all the problems beforehand. Left with the final workbook containing the real grenade, Gakuho recalls his time as a kind-hearted elementary teacher at a private cram school for his students Rikuto Ikeda, Mori, and Nakai. 3 years after these students moved on to junior high school, Gakuho was shocked to discover that Ikeda committed suicide as a result of bullying. This led Gakuho to change his teaching approach from kind-hearted to ruthless. In the present, Koto-sensei protects Gakuho from the real grenade, revealing that he bases his teaching methods on Class 3E on Gakuho's old stance on education. Gakuho reflects on this, allowing Class 3E to continue and aiming to become a better educator and parent. Afterwards, Class 3E puts on a unique play about Momotaro for the drama festival. Koto-sensei, Nagisa, and Kaede help to tidy up the storage shed, reminiscing over the past year together. Just then, Kaede suddenly attacks Koto-sensei with tentacles of her own, revealing her true identity to be Akari Yakimura, the younger sister of the previous teacher of Class 3E, Aguri Yukimura. Believing Koto-sensei to be responsible for her sister's death, Kaede stole some tentacle serum from her sister's lab and arranged to join Class 3E in order to exact her revenge, withstanding the pain of the tentacles while waiting for the right moment to strike. Kaede later puts her own life at risk to battle against Koto-sensei in a field of zebra grass, this time with the full strength of her flaming tentacles. Koto-sensei hears her inner voice, wishing to be saved. Determined to save Kaede before the tentacles kill her, Koto-sensei asks his students to think of a way to make Kaede forget her bloodlust while he lets her attack his weak point. Nagisa decides to use what he learned from Arena and delivers a powerful French kiss to Kaede, shocking her long enough to allow Koto-sensei to safely remove her tentacles. Shiro, who suddenly appears with the Reaper, reveals his identity to be Kotaro Yanagisawa, a face that Koto-sensei is all too familiar with. After Kaede recovers, Koto-sensei proceeds to tell the truth about his past, unveiling that he was the original Reaper. 2 years ago, the Reaper was captured by Yanagisawa and brought to a lab, where he met Aguri. As the Reaper underwent experimentation with Yanagisawa's tentacle formula, he became well acquainted with Aguri, revealing that he was captured after being betrayed by a pupil who would go on to become the second Reaper. Over the course of a year, the Reaper's body continued to be altered by the experiment, while his relationship with Aguri continued to grow stronger. Meanwhile, an existing experiment testing the effects of the tentacle formula on a rat proved disastrous, causing the explosion that destroyed 70% of the moon. Learning that the same thing may happen to him in a year's time, the Reaper unleashed his new powers in an attempt to escape from Yanagisawa's facility, killing several guards and gouging out Yanagisawa's left eye. As Aguri tried to keep him from leaving, she was fatally wounded by one of the facility's traps, asking him to watch over Class 3E in her place. Devastated by Aguri's death, the Reaper wished to be weak and flawed, and his tentacles transformed him into the kind-hearted teacher Koto-sensei. Back in the present, as the students are troubled over the thought of having to assassinate the teacher they had grown to admire, with Kaede having a change of heart after learning the truth, Nagisa states his desire to find a way to save Koto-sensei's life. Kurahashi is the first among some students to agree with Nagisa's wish to save Koto-sensei, but Nakamura is the first among the other students to speak out against it. After Karma expresses that Nagisa is being arrogant and selfish, Karma grabs onto Nagisa's tie, but Nagisa does a triangle choke on Karma before Koto-sensei arrives to mediate the situation. The students are divided into two opposing teams in a paintball match to determine whether to kill or save Koto-sensei, with victory being decided by either total elimination or flag capture. As the match begins, Karma's talent for formulating combat strategy gives the red kill team an early advantage over the blue don't kill team. However, Karma is uneasy upon realizing that Nagisa has been seemingly absent throughout the battle. Nakamura, Terasaka, Muramatsu, and Yoshida of the red team approach the flag of the decimated blue team, only to be suddenly eliminated by Nagisa alone in an instant. With only the two of them remaining, Karma challenges Nagisa to fight him in a melee duel. Nagisa and Karma each reminisce of their past friendship during their first year at junior high school, but they slowly began to drift apart due to Karma's violent behavior and Nagisa's hidden aura. During the duel, both of them lose their knives, and Karma does an axe kick on Nagisa to take him down. However, Nagisa rises up to execute his clap stunner, yet Karma bites his tongue to withstand its effect. Nagisa manages to catch Karma in a triangle choke, leading Karma to admit defeat and declaring the blue team as victorious. Later on, Class 3E prepares to sneak aboard a rocket bound for the International Space Station in order to obtain data on how to save Koro-sensei. After training for their mission, Nagisa and Karma are chosen as the 2 pilots to be sent into space. Thanks to Ritsu infiltrating the security mainframe of the Space Center, Nagisa and Karma manage to sneak aboard the rocket in place of some crash test dummies as it lifts off into space. Arriving at the International Space Station, the pair manage to convince the astronaut crew members to share their data before returning safely to Earth. Upon inspecting the data, Minami Okuda tells the other students that the chance of Koro-sensei actually exploding is less than 1% with the help of a drug. Nonetheless, the students agree to continue their assassination attempts until graduation. As the students prepare for their entrance exams, Nagisa is led to consider becoming a teacher when having a conversation with Sakura during their tutoring session. Meanwhile, Karma and Nakamura notice that Kaede hesitates to give Nagisa a box of chocolates for Valentine's Day, so they show her how the other female students take on this approach to the other male students. However, when Kaede works up the courage to do so, she is ultimately unable to confess her feelings for him. Elsewhere, Kodasuma and Arina have a date together, discussing the likelihood that Koro-sensei will not stop being targeted simply because of his reduced chance of exploding. Also, Gakuho offers Koro-sensei to continue teaching the class during the next term, but Koro-sensei considers resignation instead. Kodasuma suggests Arina to work for the government due to her expertise, and he hints that she should move in with him. Koro-sensei decides to compile a yearbook specifically for the students of Class 3E, though the students are not particularly enthusiastic with the candid photos he has taken over the year. After another tutoring session with Sakura, Nagisa tells Koro-sensei that he wants to become a teacher during his final career counseling session. That night, the government begins executing their plan to assassinate Koro-sensei, trapping him in an inescapable laser barrier as they prepare to fire an orbital laser cannon in a week. With the media claiming that the students were being held hostage, Nagisa and the others spend the next few days devising a plan to reach the classroom and save Koro-sensei. With 3 hours remaining until the orbital laser cannon is charged, Nagisa and the others begin infiltrating the mountain. Using their home turf to their advantage, the students knock out all the police troops guarding the area and reach Koro-sensei, who praises their efforts for coming so far despite the odds. He calmly shares words of wisdom to his students, preparing them all for the road ahead. Just as Nakamura bring out a cake and all the students celebrate Koro-sensei's birthday, Yanagisawa appears on the scene with the Reaper, who has been powered up with tentacles. Koro-sensei looks back to when the Reaper used to be his apprentice, but he never gave the Reaper his approval as an assassin. While the Reaper battles Koro-sensei, Yanagisawa injects himself with the tentacle formula and attacks Koro-sensei as well. After struggling against both Yanagisawa and the Reaper, Koro-sensei takes further damage when Yanagisawa directs the Reaper to attack the students. Yanagisawa claims the students to be his hindrances, but Koro-sensei defends his students, saying that they are his greatest gift as a teacher. Kaede attacks the Reaper but is fatally injured in the process, seemingly sending Koro-sensei into a rage. However, his true expression turns out to be a mix of all his emotions, and sends a large energy blast blinding the Reaper and sending Yanagisawa flying into the laser barrier, killing him. Koro-sensei then fatally stabs the Reaper, who had wanted to be acknowledged by his teacher all along. Afterwards, Koro-sensei, having managed to keep Kaede's blood safe during the battle, uses his skills to heal her injury and bring her back to life. With Koro-sensei left weak from his battle against Yanagisawa and the Reaper, the students reluctantly but unanimously decide to kill him themselves. Held down by his beloved students, Koro-sensei says his farewell to Kodasuma and Arina. Koro-sensei takes one final roll call as he reminisces his great experience as a teacher. Although Nagisa shakes with his knife in hand, Koro-sensei calms him down, allowing Nagisa to deal the killing blow to the heart as Koro-sensei's body turns into light, and the students then mourn. Afterwards, the students check on their classroom to find their diplomas, graduation albums, and personalized guidebooks left behind by Koro-sensei. With Kodasuma's help, the students of Class 3E attend their junior high school graduation ceremony, where Nagisa learns that Koro-sensei had helped his parents get back together. When the mass media show up to try and interview the students of Class 3E about the assassination, Gakushu and the rest of the Big Five help them leave safely. As time passes and the Class 3E system is abolished, the students receive their reward money, setting aside some for living and education expenses, donating to the nursery school, purchasing the rights to the old campus, and giving back to the government. 7 years later, several students get together to tidy up the old campus and discuss what everyone has been up to over the years. Meanwhile, Nagisa begins working as a trainee teacher at a municipal high school, using the skills he had learned from Koto-sensei to set his delinquent class straight. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.